Yes, yes, y'all. Once again, it is Friday, and once again, it's LOL Fridays. Happy Friday to you. I am Defunct the Legend, and yeah, I always bring the hottest guests on my show. Always. And I told you on Instagram. I told you on Facebook, I said I got a very special guest for you this Friday. Well, Friday is here, and guess what? I have the man behind the magic, all right? The man who keeps the wheels turning at the award-winning Alameda Comedy Club, my favorite place to perform. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Patrick Ford.
All right.
Patrick Ford's in the house.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. How you
Yes,
doing tonight?
sir. I'm good, man. And it's a beautiful thing to have you here tonight. Thank you for coming out in the rain.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. The rain's a trip, bro. It's hard to get through it, but we both did. So we're here now.
Yeah.
We're here now. So, all right. So let's get into it. I have so many questions for you, bro. So many questions. First one, how did you get your start in comedy?
Oh, actually, a good story. I've been a super comedy fan my whole life. Ever since I was a little kid, watching TV. When I was 3, 4, 5 years old, my parents always watched late night TV, and I'd stay up and I'd watch comedy with them.
Nice.
So I've always been an uber fan. But I didn't take the plunge to actually do stand-up until way late in life. I was about 47 years old.
Wow.
And I got connected with an old high school friend. This girl I knew, good friend of mine, never dated, but we were always close.
Okay.
And I called her up, and we were talking, and I said, she goes, "Oh, what you been doing?" I said, "Oh, I've been working at Yahoo and Atari and all this fun gaming stuff." She goes, "Oh, it's so cool." She goes, and then she says, "Well, I didn't really call you back right away because," she goes, "I really haven't been doing much. I'm mostly just a stay-at-home mom, but for the last 5 years, I've been doing stand-up comedy."
Okay.
And I said, "What do you mean not doing much? That has been like my lifelong dream."
Right.
Is to do. I said, "I've even been on the mailing list for the Judy Carter Comedy Workshop now for 2 years."
Oh, Lord.
And I've never done it. And she says, "Well, when's the next session?" So
Okay.
I logged on. I said, "There's one starting next week, and it's literally 2 miles from my house."
Really?
She said, "Sign up right now."
Hell yeah.
Right,
Why
so
not?
So 2007, I sign up and I go take this 8-week comedy workshop every
Okay.
Wednesday. I go in, and you know it is.
Yeah.
You write some bits, you get up on stage, you practice them, you edit, you get some feedback, you edit it, feedback, you edit, you rehearse.
Chop the fat.
Yeah, and then when you finally got a tight 5,
Okay.
they have their showcase at the Hollywood Improv.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Nice.
One of the most iconic stages in the world.
Buddy.
So I got up and I did 5 minutes at the Hollywood Improv on a Sunday night, 200 people in the room.
How'd you do?
I did great.
Nice.
I got a couple of applause breaks.
What?
And as I walk off stage, Vargas Mason, who's an LA working comic, says, "Hey, Pat, I liked your set. Would you like to perform at the Comedy Store?"
Oh, shit.
Literally, my first time ever. So,
wow.
So, and no, it's a bringer. Now, in all disclosure, he was doing a big bringer show.
Okay.
Where he says, "Oh, here's the deal. I'm going to give you 20 tickets.
Right.
If you sell those 20 tickets, you can make $100.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But you got to sell all 20 tickets to make $100.
Yeah. That's not easy.
It's not easy. I sold a bunch. I gave away some to my friends, and then I didn't give a shit about making money. I wanted stage time. I wanted to be on stage.
Right.
So my second show, I did the main stage at the Hollywood Improv, which is an amazing venue.
Nice.
Now, it did not stay there, of course. For the next 5 years, it was every bar and bowling alley in Southern California. You don't start off and say, "Oh no, where's my Netflix special?"
Exactly.
But it was great, to have that pressure to sell, and they go out. So then I did Vargas's show every month for like 6 months.
Okay.
I had to keep going back to the club, and then I started doing open mics everywhere in town, and I became like a regular open micer at the Haha Cafe in North Hollywood.
I know where that is.
Right.
I performed there.
Yeah, and Jack Casadorian Sr. Jack Jr. is now a working comic, and he's been at our club.
All right.
But Jack Sr. ran the club. So I did that for a couple months, and then about, I'd say 3 months in, he said, "Pat, I've been watching your stuff. I'd like you to come do the showcase on Thursday, see how you do." So I did the showcase, and I passed. And then he said, "How would you like to be the host of the Tuesday Night Funnies?" It's it's their slowest night.
Nice.
But that gave me like a regular gig every single Tuesday for a year.
Yeah.
And it was a pro-am show. It was one of those where I would book like 3 bringers, and then you would book like 3 pros, like Adam Ray or Elijah Schlesinger, or Bobby Lee, people like that. So I got to work with pro comics.
Nice.
But I also had currency in my pocket now because I had 3 or 4 spots to give away to other local comics.
Yep.
And you would trade those. You'd say, "Well, tell you what, you do my Tuesday at the Ha Ha, and I'll do your thing in the Valley."
Okay.
Or, whatever.
Yeah.
You know how it is. When you first started out,
exactly,
you get more gigs from your peers
exactly.
than you get from clubs.
From clubs, right. But when you get that nod though, like you did from a club, I mean, it's like gold, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I like the fact that they made me host for a year because it was school.
Yes.
You know, because you're forced to write a new bit every week, or at least a few new bits every week, and then learn how to do crowd work, learn how to bring an audience back when someone bombs.
Right.
And in fact, I had a deal where there was one comic who came in every Thursday who didn't have any friends with him, so he didn't have any bringers.
Oh.
But he was a killer comic who never failed.
Nice.
So I said to Jack, I said, "Listen, if I get like 2 bad bringers in a row, people are going to start walking. So can I bring Chris up?"
Okay.
And it was Chris D'Elia.
Oh, right. Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. Chris D'Elia, of course, has had his own ups and downs in the business because of stuff, but he was, there was no doubt about it. He was a rock solid comic.
Absolutely.
And he could always bring an audience back. So I became tight with Chris, and I was like, all right, 2 bombs in a row. Chris, get in there. Bring him back. Bring him back, Chris.
Yeah.
And he'd do it. And we had some good drop-ins. Damon Wayans did a drop-in one night. Fortunately for me, I had all my friends in the audience that night. And it was like, oh, my good friend Damon Wayans is here tonight. Damon and I had just met like an hour before,
Beautiful.
Yeah, but he did great. It was fun.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started for you, man.
It was like a serendipitous thing. It was like some girl dared me to do it.
Wow. And it's funny, the damnest
a lot of stories probably start the way a girl dared me to do it.
And on a dare, we do some crazy shit, but sometimes good things come from a dare. So that's a beautiful thing. Okay, well that's nice, man. Can you describe your style of comedy when you're up there?
Yeah, I mean, I did a variety of different things because I was just kind of exploring. I started with a lot of, fairly clean observational comedy. Actually, my first set was all about coming out of the corporate world and going into, comedy. So I did a lot of that. Then I also had a lot of family. I got my son here watching us today over there.
Yeah.
I started mining a lot of things about my wife and my kids and those kind of jokes, and stuff like that. But then I would just branch out like different topics. I figure like what are the things I'm interested in, what are the things I do. Like I'm sort of a semi-pro level poker player. I played in the World Series. I played in the World Series of Poker a bunch of times in the World Poker.
I can't play poker, man. I like craps. That's my game.
I love craps too.
Yeah.
But I got really serious about being a good poker player. So I did a whole set on poker.
Okay.
Then I would go to different shows that had themes. There was one show that we used to do. It was at this lesbian bar on Santa Monica called The Palms. And they did this sort of, it wasn't an open mic, but it was like a semi-booked show.
Okay.
And they'd give you a different theme or something. And one time we did a show we just called Rant.
Oh.
Right? So all you would do is you would go in with like a single idea.
Right.
And get up on stage and just rant on it for like 7 minutes. Like no pre-written material.
Nice.
Just let it run. So I would experiment with a lot of different ideas and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was, when I was doing a lot of comedy, I really haven't actually. Ironically, since I've opened my club, I've hardly ever gone on stage to do stand-up.
Exactly.
But when I first moved back to the Bay Area, I did all the places you've done: Comedy Oakland, Milk Bar, Kells.
Right.
What's that place out in the Richmond or whatever? All those, Danny Detchi show. So I did a lot of those shows there. But I was always a very prepared comedian. I always walked into a show, except for like rants or kind of loose theme shows.
Right.
I always had an index card with my set list on it.
Right?
And if I had an important show, like I got to do the original room at the store like 6 times.
What?
And that
6 times?
Yeah, because I was good friends with Brian Monarch came up around the same time I did.
Okay.
And Brian produces a lot of shows, both at the Improv and at the store. And so he would put me on, and we had like good headliners. Whitney Cummings would be a headliner, Bobby Lee or Eliza, people like that.
Nice.
And I would get one of the 8-minute sets, in the middle. And I would always walk in with like my set list and then 2 blank cards.
Oh, okay.
And while I'm in the green room, I would copy my set list 2 times.
Yeah.
To as a memory.
Get it up there.
And I was like, okay.
Yes.
And then I would put the cards in my pocket. I never took them out on stage.
Right.
But it was like that process of copying the list manually 2 times made me cement the list in my head. Because I would always I would write my sets, my jokes. I would rehearse them at home. I would time them. Assuming there was laughter, I'd say, okay,
Yeah.
pause for laughter.
Right.
And then go on. So I was always really careful, and I still have in a box every show I've ever done.
Really?
I have the lineup of every show I've ever hosted.
That's dope.
So I can tell you, like, on 2009 on this date at this club. These are
Right.
the 6 comics I put up.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I was always a bit of a nerd about.
That's beautiful. Do you ever go in that box and just every once in a while?
Sometimes I would pull because if I had a new show, I would say, well, what did I do here last time? I
Okay.
could flip back a couple months. Say, okay, I did those bits.
Right.
And then what? And I was always the kind of guy who would like. When I wanted to try a new bit out, like if it was like a nobody show somewhere, I might just freestyle and do whatever.
Yeah.
But if I knew I was testing out one of my other bits, I would always put it in between 2 things that I know worked. Right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
I'm going to open. I know I'm going to open with this great opener, and I know I'm going to close with this great closer.
Right.
And then I would say, okay, now when I get to here, I'm going to do that next 2-minute chunk that I just wrote.
Yes.
But if that chunk doesn't fly,
You
I'm
go
going to
right
bring
back
them
to
right
what
back
works.
with. I got my rock hard shit in a bag joke never fails.
Absolutely.
Right. So that
Absolutely.
joke always follows the new material. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, you mentioned a club. Now, there's something about a club that, when I hear your name, it just rings like bells. There's a club in Alameda somewhere. What's it called? The
Alameda Comedy Club.
All right, so
He does.
my man moved from stand-up to having his own club. That's amazing. Now, what in the hell possessed you to do that?
It actually started about 10 years earlier. I became friends with a guy named Joe Falzerano when I was in LA. He was doing comedy classes, but he used to be the general manager of Caroline's on Broadway in New York City.
Caroline's,
which is
right.
a major club. And he ran that place for like 10 years.
Wow.
So he had an idea. He said, listen, I'm thinking about opening up a new club, and do you want to partner with me on this? And I want to do it more, and we're talking about doing a more high-tech club than like the old comedy clubs in LA were, they're old. They're like 50, 60-year-old clubs, and they're kind of dated. And he said, let's polish it up. Let's do have video screens everywhere. Let's have a big video wall behind and things like that. So we put together a big business plan, and we were pitching it to because the deal didn't go through. I won't say the names, but some big celebs who owned a big online entity.
Okay.
And we went and we had a couple months of meetings, and we went all the way up to the big CAA meeting with all the execs in the room. And eventually they said, listen, we really like you guys, but we decided we're not going to go. We're going to stay online. We're not going to go virtual.
Right.
We're not going to go into brick and mortar. We're just going to stay virtual.
Okay.
But God be with you. You guys go do it. Do it if you want to go do it yourself. So we had this full business plan, and we looked at properties. We looked at a great one on La Cienega and another one out in Venice Beach. But then eventually, we kind of lost steam for it because we didn't have the big partner. Because it was going to take $1 million to get the thing off the road.
Yeah.
So we parted ways on it, and then I moved up to the Bay Area.
Okay.
And then a few years back, my wife Lori, who is she's the co-owner of the club. She runs,
shout out to Lori, by the way.
Tice.
Yeah.
I run the club. She runs the restaurant.
Yeah.
And she was thinking about retiring because she's been in the high-end restaurant business her whole career.
Wow.
And she said, I'm thinking about retiring from that and just maybe opening up a little wine bar. And I said, well, what's a comedy club at a bar with a stage? Why don't we put our peanut butter and chocolate together? I'll run the show, you run the club. And so we kind of put it back together that way.
Yeah, it's like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and then we found this property. She didn't really want to do the whole. First, we looked at a small property where we were just going to have a bar, maybe a little cold food plates, and that deal didn't go through on that property. So we found this other one, the one you've been at many times.
Yes.
And you see, we have full-size kitchen.
Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful club.
So I talked her into the full deal. So now she's managing a restaurant again. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you got the Alameda Comedy Club. Let me ask you this. A lot of comics want to know, and I'm going to go ahead and do this for the comedians, how the hell do you go about, number one, impressing a comedy club owner or booker? How do you even get into a comedy club to even perform? And then not only that, what do you personally look for in comedians?
Okay, well, that's like 3 different questions here. I think if you want to get in, there's certainly the open mic route, right?
Right.
You go to someone's open mic, do a good job, impress, then do that, right? And that's fine. If you already are a working comedian, you want to make sure that you've got a good package, what they call the EPK, electronic press kit, or whatever.
Right.
Probably the most important thing is to have a good 5 to 8 minute recorded set.
Okay.
That is one continuous recording, no edits, not a montage of little jokes done here and there. I want to see you from beginning to end. And I'm going to warn people about this one. If it doesn't start off strong, you're fucked.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
because you can't imagine how many I get. I have an email called booking@alamedacomedy.com, and I have received more than 2,000 booking requests.
I bet.
People, and I only book 50 headliners a year.
Wow,
So
out of 2,000?
I only need a tiny slice, and that's headliners. I need 50 unique headliners a year, 52 if I do all weekends, right?
Okay.
Then I have features who do 30 minutes and hosts who do 15.
Right.
And when I find someone, and I book all of those local, because I'll bring in my headliners from anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to we want to support the local community.
The local
so
scene,
I'm going to get paid spots to those people. But when I find someone who's passed and they're now a good feature or a good host, I like to give them a couple of weekends per year.
Right.
So let's say if I'm giving out 3 weekends, I only need 17 hosts.
That's it.
17 features.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there are 1,000 comics.
You have a hell of a pool to choose from.
There's a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. So, but if I'm looking at your tape, and if you don't catch it, when you get on stage, you should catch that audience in their first 15 seconds. Find an opening line that is a catch, right? Lynn Koplitz did a great video from the what's the Comedy Cellar in New York, in Greenwich Village. Right? She gets up on stage, and her first words out of her mouth was, "I'm not married. I'm in Texas, what they call a handful." Boom! 4.5 seconds.
Right.
She hooked you. All right, now I want to hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
She just set herself up.
She's interesting.
You know who she is.
Right.
You know what she's going to talk about. She did it in 4.5 seconds, and I use that as an example when I'm looking at comics. It's when somebody gives me the tape, and you see them walk out on stage. It's like, first of all, the applause dies down. They don't get on stage until the people stop clapping.
Right.
Then they fiddle with the microphone.
Oh no.
Then they walk back and they put the microphone back.
Oh no.
Then they walk out front and say, "So how's everyone doing today?"
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's hear it for your wait staff.
Right.
It's like,
right. After
click.
3 other comics have
I'm
already
done.
said, "How's everyone doing?"
Right. I'm done with you. Get out there and identify yourself right away. This isn't your demo tape, because when I'm going through, like I'm doing it right now. I'm starting to cast my my shows for 2024.
Okay.
And I might not give you 15 seconds.
Right.
It's like your videos, like you get 15 seconds of fluff and garbage. Next.
Exactly.
I got 2,000 to choose from. Next.
Exactly.
Next.
Give it up for yourselves. Yeah.
And, don't. If you're the host of a big show, you can try to do that.
That's
to a little
different.
pump up the crowd.
Yeah.
But if you're auditioning, you want to get into that game right away.
Right.
Also, make sure it's solid all the way through.
Yes.
It's not hard. I mean, it is hard. But if you're already a working comic, finding your best 5, should be something you know. Right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And you should always when I was in LA, everyone, of course, who's a comic in LA is trying to get a TV deal, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's whether it's to do stand up or just to be an actor on a sitcom or whatever. Every single comic has their clean 5-minute, in their back pocket,
right?
Because they know if they get the tap and someone says, "Oh, we're thinking about you for Jimmy Fallon, we're thinking about you for late night," you walk in there and you do your 5-minute clean material, right? Even if you're not a clean comic, generally, everyone who's going to do TV has to have that 1 5-minute set. Use that one as your audition tape.
My theory is, and I may be wrong, but is if you can write dirty, you can write clean.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at our club, anything goes. I mean, I love dirty comedy too. So I have no qualms about what people say on stage, unless if it's unless it's cruel and offensive. That doesn't happen. For us.
Yeah. You had any real horror stories?
No,
about
not really. I mean,
someone on stage?
There was one where. We had a big headliner from LA come up, and he emailed me and goes, "Hey, listen, can this guy host for us?" And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll let him host it," because I figured he knew him.
Right.
And it turned out he didn't know the guy. He just knew that he was a fan of his who lived in Alameda, and he wasn't doing his due diligence either. And I didn't check him out because I just entrusted that I thought he knew him. And he gets up. So first of all, he gets really drunk between acts. So for the second show, he's plastered. He gets on stage even before I've done the intro. I'm like, "What is that guy doing? I haven't even turned the lights on yet." And he's trying to talk into the microphone that's not on. I'm like, "Oh my God."
Lord.
And like I said, I don't mind dirty language, but how many times do you think you can say fuck in a 15-minute set?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, give me a number. Pick a number.
I'd say in a 15 minutes, I'd say maybe 50.
He did it 78 times.
Oh, 78 times.
78 times in 15 minutes. To do that 78 times, you have to say things like, I fucking got up this fucking morning, had a fucking cup of coffee before I went to my fucking job.
Right. Did he have any other words?
No, it was like every other word. And of course, he wasn't funny at all. And that's the real crime. The real crime, I don't give a shit if you say fuck, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Right? But the real crime is not being funny.
Right.
So he was the only one I ever fired in between shows. I was like, all right, someone else is doing the next show. You're out.
Absolutely.
You're out of here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have fired his ass too. Before he even finished his set, I would have cut the mic. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Yeah, I did. And I also did have one comic who very inappropriately got into a fight with an audience member.
Oh.
And I thought, and it's like
a physical fight?
No, just a verbal fight, and was trying to get the customer thrown out. And we were all on the customer side, and I lit her early, brought her off stage, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And of course and it was a regular customer too that we had to we made it up. We gave her free tickets and smoothed it over.
That's good.
Buy her a drink.
That's good. And I only ask you that question because I've been a booker. I've run shows and put on shows, and I know what a headache it can be dealing with us comedians. Sometimes we can be,
for me, it's not that bad because, like I said, because I have such a deep list. If anyone is a real pain in my ass, instead of fighting about it and arguing with someone, I figured this one out early. I just go next.
Move on. Right.
I move on. I just go to the next person because the fact of the matter is 99% of the comics. I love comics, and I get along with everybody. And if someone's going to be a pain in my ass, it's like, well, I don't need this.
Exactly.
I don't need it.
Exactly. Because there's more.
There's so many more.
Exactly.
And I was like, if you don't want this gig, there are literally 200 people.
Right.
That I can call right now who will take your spot.
Ready, and probably better than that person.
Who are not going to be a pain in my ass.
Right. Absolutely.
I'll go next.
Absolutely.
So I don't fight anymore, and I don't have any problems. I think there's only I'm not going to tell you the name. There's literally only one comic who's banned from the club after 4 years.
Oh, well, I don't want to know who that is.
I know you know you want to know. I'm not going to say it on the radio.
Okay, well, don't worry. You can tell me.
I'll tell you offline.
Offline, who's banned.
But there's only one who's banned.
Okay.
There's a few I've ignored. There's a few I've said no to, that are just not going to go in. But there's only one idiot who got himself banned.
Anytime I'm in the scene and I bring your name up, it's always love. Everybody's like,
thanks,
I love Patrick.
That.
I love Patrick.
Well, that's because I love comics, and we have a fraternity. So,
man, we do. We do. And every time I go to the Alameda Comedy Club, I get love, and I always have ever since I first showed up during the pandemic. And I wanted to thank you for that because that means a lot to me.
You did the outside stage.
Yeah,
right?
It means a lot to me, brother. I really. And you also allowed me to record my very first comedy album right there at the award-winning Alameda Comedy Club. And I hope to do it again because that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. Okay, so what's the address if anyone wants to visit?
2431 Central Avenue in Alameda. It's one block off of Park Street, which is like the main drag.
Yep.
It goes through town.
Yep.
I'm literally 1 mile from Oakland, right near Berkeley. It's the closest city to San Francisco, right across the bridge. So really centrally located on the East Bay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What do you think a good formula for one? Let's take one joke at a time. So one joke. What's a good formula in your opinion for a strong joke?
Okay, that's a really good. I mean, they come in all shapes and sizes.
However,
my scientific theory of comedy is that what makes a joke work is the surprise. Right? That it has to trick your brain. Like you think a person's going this way, and then they make that sharp left turn that your brain didn't see, and that's what causes that spontaneous laughter. Because if I see you going down a direction, and I know where you're going to end up,
right?
I might find this to be an amusing story, and I might chuckle along with you, and I might smile, and I might say, "Oh, that's funny."
Right.
But if you're going to catch me and make me like fall over laughing,
the belly laugh,
it's the surprise that does it. That joke you didn't see coming.
Right.
That I find is the best and most like that automatic laugh.
That's the magic.
That's the magic laugh. When something surprises your brain, when it tricks you.
Yeah.
And that's first of all, it's tricky to do. Because you got to be clever enough to write a joke that people don't see coming.
Yeah.
You got to deliver it right, and you have to do it. I had a joke once. It was about Starbucks, and being responsible for social anxiety, like too much anxiety, too much caffeine,
Yeah.
yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And my punchline went, I'll have the lorazepam scone. I'll have the Prozac Frappuccino and lorazepam scone. And it kind of wasn't working. And the reason was, the word lorazepam was confusing people's brains. And if you have to stop and think about something, you miss the surprise. And all I did is I edited that joke to say, I'll have the Prozac Frappuccino and the Valium scone. And all of a sudden the joke started working, and I was like, that's what it was.
That one word.
If I make your brain pause to think of something, if I can't hear you, if you don't enunciate correctly,
right?
Be like, what do you say? What do you say?
Right.
You've lost the element of surprise, because it's a fleeting moment. It's a nanosecond when you have that opportunity to trick a person's brain.
Yeah.
And if you fuck up the delivery, if you put the pause in the wrong place, whatever, you can ruin a joke.
Yes, you can.
Jokes are very
every
delicate.
time.
Very delicate animals.
They are, man. They're like tissue paper. Tissue paper,
yeah,
you know?
Tissue paper,
Okay, so you have the club, which is awesome. Why don't you run down some of the events you have coming up?
Yeah. So we run Thursday through Sunday. So Thursday night is always our local night. We do the open mic every week at 6 o'clock. And then at 8:15, we do another local. This week we're actually doing the double open mic. We had 69 people sign up for open mic this week.
I saw the list.
Yeah, and we pick 18 free shows. So about half the people got spots. But then we'll typically do a showcase, or every third Thursday we're starting. We did a new thing. We started about 4 months ago. Story Slam. So people get up and just storytelling.
Nice.
Thursday.
Yeah,
and then the final Thursday of every month is Roast Battle.
Okay.
Which is Josh Means hosts that.
Shout out to Josh Means.
Josh Means.
He's been on here too.
Yeah, he does it all around the Bay. And then on Friday and Saturday nights, that's our headliner comedy. So we bring in headliners from New York, LA, Chicago, wherever. And that's the standard format: a host, a feature, and a headliner.
Right.
2 shows a night, 7 o'clock and 9:15.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, we do Drag Yourself to Brunch.
Yes.
Probably our most popular show, our most fun show.
Oh, I bet.
4 drag queens.
Oh, yeah.
You get a big waffle platter with
They know how to party.
Bacon, sausage, salmon, eggs,
man.
the works. First mimosa or Bloody Marys included.
Oh, man, I'd come there just for
get
the
up.
food.
People get up. Oh yeah, it's a great platter.
Man.
People get up and dance. Women celebrate their birthdays there all the time.
Oh, beautiful.
And then halfway through the show, we bring all the birthday people up on stage. We give them a shot. Sing, do the whole shebang.
Okay.
And that show, I mean, around Mother's Day. Sold out a week in advance, 110 people in the room. It's a party. It's probably the most fun thing I do. I should change my LinkedIn profile to say drag show DJ as my top job. I mean, I go to work, I get there as the showrunner, I don't have to do all the restaurant setup, so I just show up like 30 minutes before the show. Put batteries in the mic, turn on the lights.
There it is.
Then I grab myself a mimosa, sit in the booth, spin some tunes. And they let me pick. They do like 9 numbers, and then the last number, 9.5 they call it. I get to throw a curveball at it. They say, okay, we don't know where this last song is going to be.
Right.
Patrick in the booth is going to pick the song.
Oh, that's fun.
And I try, and there's a few go-to favorites, It's Raining Men, fine, or some ABBA tunes. But every once in a while, I'll throw a curveball at them and throw something that they didn't think was coming.
Yeah. I mean,
old 70s disco or something like that.
You in that booth, man. I mean, it's amazing, because when I come to your open mics and your shows, not only do you run the show, but you teach comedians how to work the microphone, how to walk onto the stage, how to work on their stage presence. I mean, you don't get that at every club,
in fact,
or any club, actually.
We're doing that this Saturday. We're doing a workshop for how to host. How to be a good host. And Tony, Tony Sparks, right?
Yeah, that's my guy.
He's the godfather of comedy in the Bay Area. So Tony's going to be the lead guy, and me and Jason Toops, who's another local producer, are going to put together about a 2 or 3 hour workshop.
Nice.
And we charge people $5. That way we can pay Tony for his time.
Yeah. Hey, humans. That's his thing.
Humans. So he just hosted for us recently and has come back again in January. We've got him for a weekend. He's a great gentleman, great guy. And so we're going to be doing a full 2 or 3 hour workshop session on how to host. But I'm kind of when I part of the thing about the open mic is when we started the club, we said we want to make sure that we service the comedy community top to bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll bring you your headliners, people who have been on late night. Most of our headliners on the weekend have multiple late night TV credits, right?
Okay.
Those guys are fine.
Okay.
But then we want, like I said, we want to build the community of features and hosts out
Yeah.
of our local group.
Yeah.
But also the open mic, we want to, like, you know me, like if someone gets on stage the wrong way, I send them back out.
Oh, yeah,
Don't put the
yeah.
microphone back and give them a lesson.
Right.
You run the light, I play the music on you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I get a kick out of that. That's funny as hell.
And,
to me.
and people, and they don't mind. I'm harsh on them, but they're learning the game.
They have to.
They gotta
but
learn
you
the
have
game.
to be harsh. It's trial by fire,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
You know,
It's like,
trial
yeah,
by fire,
yeah.
brother. You know,
It's all in good humor, but
well,
you know.
yeah, and you're not being mean. You're just being real.
Right,
you
being
know?
real.
and
being
that's
real.
what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, it's
But
about
fine.
being real.
I'm
know?
not. But if I scare them a little bit, good.
yeah, because then they'll remember that.
Yeah.
They'll remember that. They'll be like, oh shit, don't run the light.
Don't run the light.
Don't run
That's
the
the number
light.
one. In fact, that is like one of my biggest pet peeves, and even with pros, because when you run the light in a show, running the light for people who are not watching means like when you get on stage and I say you've got a 7-minute set, I'm going to give you a 2-minute light.
Right.
At the 5-minute mark, the red light's going to go on. That means you got 2 minutes. Use the 2 minutes.
Yep.
When those 2 minutes are up, I will flash that light about 5 times, which means find your thank you and good night line, get
Yes.
the fuck off the
Get
stage,
off the
right?
stage.
And if you're still talking like a minute or 2 minutes later, now you're fucking up the show, right? Because
Right.
now I either have to take those 2 minutes away from one of the next comics,
Yep.
right? Or I have to let the show run late. Now on a weekend, I run a 90-minute show, right? Starts at 7, ends at 8:30.
Right.
The next doors open at 9 o'clock. I've got 30 minutes for my servers.
So they have to reset.
I gotta clear all the dirty dishes.
Oh,
I gotta
man.
wipe down and reset every table. I gotta wash those dishes at the bar to be ready. Because when people come in, they start ordering drinks right away, and we gotta be
Right,
ready.
right.
So if you take time out, I have to let the show run late, which means I'm gonna make the people wait outside.
Yeah.
And people don't like to wait
They
outside.
don't like to wait at all.
You know, and then they come in surly. They're all mad. Like they don't get in the room till 9:10.
It makes it harder on the comics.
And now
in the show.
they're all mad.
Yeah.
Right. So now they come in with a bad attitude. You got to sit them down. So and then if you run the light on the second show, we do last call 20 minutes before the expected end of the show.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
We say, all right, last call. We'll serve your last round of drink. We drop the check.
Right.
You put your credit card in.
Right.
And so then when that show ends, you should have already signed your credit card. You can just walk out the door, right? But if I make you stay late, if I have to run late on the second show, I can't sell another drink because I've already given last call 20 minutes before. So I'm not making another dime while you're up there bullshitting on stage for an extra 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm paying 7 people an hourly wage to stay an extra 30 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's costing money out of my pocket.
And some audience will get weary.
And some audience are weary. Like they've been sitting on these chairs are comfortable enough, but they're not like they're not like this nice comfy chair I'm here.
Barco Lounge at home.
Right. It's, this is a restaurant chair.
Right.
So some people got there early to have their first drink. So their asses are getting sore after 2 hours. It's a 90-minute show.
Yeah.
If you're hired to do 45, do 45.
Right.
30, do 30.
Right.
And that's, you're doing nobody a favor. Now, I'll give a few exceptions. If you're Dave Chappelle and you want to riff all night long, I will keep the bar open all night long.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Nobody's Dave Chappelle except Dave Chappelle.
Except for Dave, that's right.
So if you're just some Midland, Midwest comic who's touring around, you're good.
Got an ego problem and doesn't want to fucking adhere to the light.
Just do your thing. Do your thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always been one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, mine too.
It fucks up a lot of things.
Yeah, it does, man, and it's selfish.
It's selfish.
It's very selfish, man, and I don't believe in running the light, and I never tried to. Okay, so one more time, the address to the Alameda Comedy Club.
2431 Central, right off Park Street.
Okay, cool. Now, do you have like a big show that you wanna mention? Coming up?
Oh, we got a great New Year's Eve show coming up.
Oh, okay.
Miles Weber, who you know.
I know Miles Weber, yes.
He's going to be the headliner.
Okay.
And then we also have a live band.
Oh,
called
a
Scotch
band.
and Soda.
Oh.
Keyboardist, bassist, and or I think guitarist, bass, and vocalist.
Right.
And 2 drag queens.
What?
So it's comedy, drag, and music on New Year's Eve.
You got to come out for that.
It's going to be a really fun party. It's going to be great. I think this weekend. Willie Cap. Yeah, in fact, we had to do a last minute change.
Okay.
Let me get the schedule. I don't want to say the name wrong. I got it wrong.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Give me one
And
second
then also
here.
make sure you shout out the website too, so they know where to go.
If that's easy, AlamedaComedy.com.
There it is,
That's the one to find.
AlamedaComedy.com, baby.
And here we are. So we got Willie Mack this weekend.
Okay.
Never seen Willie before.
All right.
He was a last minute change. We had another comic.
Okay.
I won't say the comic's name because he's going to be rebooked. But
All
he had
right.
a last minute TV appearance.
It happens. It happens.
Right, and we're not
Yeah.
going to say don't go on late night TV.
No,
that's what
of
everyone's
course
told
not.
us.
You're right.
So, but Willie stepped up 8 days before. He's doing really great.
Okay.
Pre-sales.
Okay.
And then Jessica Michelle Singleton is coming up next week.
Nice,
It'll be great.
nice.
And then Orion Levine, who was a Bay Area comic, who moved to L.A. Or did he move to New York? One of the two. That was happening to us. LA and New York are like the two hubs, right?
They are the hubs, yes.
But there's a couple good feeder cities that are good. Like Austin's good for comedy.
Oh,
Denver's
Austin's
good for
man.
comedy.
Austin is off the
Austin's
hook,
taking
man.
up. Austin's becoming an A.
Wow.
Austin's becoming an A player now. Right?
Yeah.
But so I would I work really hard to find the good comics in the Bay Area,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally get someone up to the feature level. And sure enough, after 6 months of doing feature work, they go, "Hey, listen, I'm moving to LA."
Oh, shit.
Like Chris Riggins.
Oh, yeah.
Chris just went down to LA.
Yeah.
He's got the regular, and he actually opens for Chappelle.
Mm.
But he's coming back. He'll be headlining for us in February.
That's dope.
For a weekend.
That's
yeah.
dope.
He won the San Francisco Comedy Competition.
That's right. He
last year,
sure did.
2022.
He sure did. I had to
He
congratulate
did his
him.
first headliner show at our club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's gonna be a star.
Nice. Yeah. Chris
Yeah.
Riggins, he's
Chris
dope.
gonna be a star.
Yep, he's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Alameda Comedy Club, the award-winning Alameda Comedy Club, is located.
2431 Central Avenue.
That's right. This is Patrick Ford, and he runs it with his family. I think it's a family-oriented club, and I got to give a shout-out to your wait staff, man.
Yeah.
They do the damn thing, man. They make sure you get
Yeah.
food. The French fries are just great. They make sure you get food, drinks quickly and precisely.
Have you tried the brisket sliders?
I have not, but I
Oh.
tried the chicken sliders.
Those are good too.
Those are fucking
Try
awesome.
the brisket slider when you get a chance.
I will.
That's
'Cause I'm gonna
that's our
sign up.
signature dish.
I'll be
Yeah.
there in a couple of weeks, so I'm gonna sign up and I'll try them when I get there.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is LOL Fridays right here on HypeRadio.com. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube page, and thank you for tuning in for Mr. Patrick Ford. I told you it was going to be a very, very special interview. Hopefully it was informative for you. If not, we'll do a part 2, damn it. All right, I'm Defunct the Legend. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you keep it right here, okay? HypeRadio.com, the hype is real. You know how we do. Thank you, Patrick. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Always a
All right.
pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Right.